Hey guys, so this video will be quite a bit different than normal. It's going to be about I guess, controversial channel called Alpha Investments. And uh, if you've been watching this channel, you notice that I like to look at price trends, data, and what I can. And I keep looking at what data I have available. And what I've come across a lot is that I'm unable to find data like older like a year ago a lot of the time. And so a lot of the data, even if I know events in the past, a lot of it is just like me hearing about it from some other person. So like that's where some of the YouTubers who've been here for like more than a couple of years, like they'll be able to tell me, hey, like the prices for this, like because I'll use those sort of things. Like if I know that ETBs have gone to like $400, like I think Hidden Face went to like 300, 400 at some point. Roaring Skies booster box, a really old set, went to $400. It's like okay, so it's possible, and it also makes it so a lot of the context behind long-term investing makes a lot more sense, and why people are confident in the Pokemon market versus other markets and the dangers. There's just a lot of nuances that if you don't stay and learn and have the sources, like you kind of have to learn the hard way. And so for me, this is like I started watching this channel. I started watching his more recent videos because I was hearing from other YouTube channels. But I went through and I didn't go through all of it. But what I did is that I tried to find all the Pokemon videos they did. I just searched Pokemon sorted by date, and I just watched it based on the titles, and I was like I took summaries. So this is sort of a recap of what I found from the videos. And since they're historical videos, it's not like watching a YouTuber today and like they're like making a um making a guess of the future that like I'm doing that like with Stressful Festival Prismatic. People talk about the rocket set, whatever, and like a lot of it's just like stuff you don't know. But when it comes to historical stuff, it's like a lot of times you can kind of cross check some of the data, like at minimum, like hey, what's the price at now, um and if you know some sites do have price data, but it's a little harder to find. But you'll hear some events. You're like, hey, this set's really popular. Like there was people hear blips like, oh, COVID, there's a big boom. Logan Paul there's a big boom. But like getting the exact timeline and see all the nuances, and like this is why like things like reprints and restocks and I don't know, just like people are really scared. They're like, oh, what is next this set? And that's why people try to find the best sets, like Sword and Shield, like Evolving Skies is like, I want the next Evolving Skies. I don't want Battle Styles because Battle Styles is like really low or Vivid Voltage. It's like, so why did that even happen? And so like going into history, just like, because like most people watch these channels like it's for fun or entertainment, but also just to make informed decisions. So I found this. So I know that there's a lot of controversy of this, but like for a lot of this data, like it's literally just log. So like this isn't really a thing based on whether I like Rudy or not, but it's more like a like what like there's results or someone playing money where whatever is, and there's like an actual log. And so I'm just gonna get started, and there's a lot of tabs as usual. Because what I did was I took notes on somewhere else. And but on YouTube, like when I hover over the dates, it doesn't just tell me. So I kind of wanted to at least like go through some of the actual dates of like, hey, what's the timeline of things?
Everybody, welcome back.
So I guess it's auto opened. So this was the first video I think, or one of the first ones where Rudy got into Pokemon. So this was November 5th, 2016. This is almost 8 years ago, or about 8 years ago. 8 years plus about like 8 years and 1 month, about almost exactly, and a week. So you see the transition through the videos where Rudy is like he's different than a lot of people because he's like you see that's a massive quantity. He's buying pallets. So a lot of people they start out from what I've seen, like they'll go to the common ways, like you see Pokemon cards at your local store or Walmart or whatever. You're like, oh, maybe that's worth playing. I'll buy it. Um, and you realize that like a lot of these they're called collector boxes, and the collector boxes don't usually do as well as like booster boxes. Plus, they take a lot of space, like all that space. And so like there's kind of wisdom in like, hey, should you buy collector boxes or not? And yeah, there are times based on your circumstances, but usually a lot of investors they do transition out from collector boxes back into booster boxes or whatnot if they can. So I'm not gonna go through all the nuances of that, but that is just a trend, and going through all this, like, it does help explain that. But this kind of started the journey, and yeah, it's just an initial investment. He bought a bunch. He said he's not gonna open or sell. I think he bought these because he was gonna get a really good deal. And so this is kind of common. Like collector boxes, the value of the packs sometimes like they're on clearance a lot, and so like if you're a collector yourself, then it's actually pretty good because then like you want the packs and you don't want to pay booster box prices, and but you can get the packs for cheap. And so if you're just gonna open them yourself, there's not really an issue because you're not reselling. As a reseller though, you'll notice that like the sales of these collector boxes aren't as good, so a lot of times it's just harder to sell. Um, and so Rudy's plan, I think, at this point was he's gonna like he said he's not gonna sell, but I think some at some point he was like, oh, maybe I should try selling at like a because the packs in these are worth more, so I can give a discount and I'll still be making money. And that it didn't actually work out very well, but it's kind of to his favor. But yeah, this was 8 years ago. Um, and then the next one, so this was January 6th, 2017. So about like exactly 2 months after, so next year, 2017. Um, So there's less context to this, but essentially there was a set called Roaring Skies, and this is also where like it's harder to get context. So I'll just give you some context here. So Pokemon Universe releases sets in like sort of I don't know. It's just like there's just like a group of sets basically. I don't really know how else to say it. Like there's probably an actual term, but like it's usually on the packs. Like this Scarlet and Violet is right now. So like there's usually a base, so it's this one, and then these are all the ones that a lot of people are talking about right now. There's Paldea, and then they're usually like code names like this is SV, so SV 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's the ET specialty sets like ETV ones, which aren't listed here because like I just filtered my booster box. Um, but you'll see like they're all around like 100 something around. The searching is usually, but usually a lot of times they're around the same price. And then last era, let's just call them era, was Sword and Shield, and I had these 12 sets. So, and you'll see the prices do get higher. A lot of times, like you get mostly 200s, and then except well, actually no, I'm not gonna say it. Actually, there's a bunch of 100s, 150s. That's kind of an no, whatever. But yeah, this was Sword and Shield, and a lot of people nowadays there's a lot of hype for Sword and Shield, and there's been increasing hype for Scarlet and Violet recently, but it wasn't really that case like last year. There's actually a lot of hate for Scarlet and Violet. Um, for that there was um, Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon was another. So I guess it's like 12 sets of booster boxes at least. So this is Sun and Moon, and out of all of these, I think so. The really famous one, Sword of Shields Evolving Skies. Um, I think Cosmic Eclipse was the famous one for Sun and Moon. So over here, um, and then you have XY, which I think. Let's see. I don't know if there's like a one famous one. We like the prices. Like Phantom Forces is very expensive. And this is like the dates here are nice. So this was 10 years ago. So like there's a significant time. Like this is 10 years ago, and then this is 3 years later. So this is 7 years ago, and this one is 3 years later. So it's like every like each one is like 3 years, I guess. And this is 4 years ago, and then Scarlet and Violet just started like a year ago. Well, that's it's almost 2 years. I guess like the dates being March. Um, but yeah, I was just looking at the end date. I wasn't looking at the month. But you see how like it comes out in sequential blocks, and so at the time of this, that video was 2017, so it was around when Sun and Moon started. So it was like here to here, so it was right at the end of XY. And so when you get to the end of an era, like the boxes start getting out of print. That's the usual pattern. Um, like recently, you can still buy so like the end sets more availably. Like Silver Tempest recently saw a Pokemon Center, but Sword and Shield base like this is actually really expensive. And Rebel classes are more expensive than you'd expect. Rebel classes are a good set. It's just but they were like low supply and they're released earlier, just give them a leg up in terms of price. There is a difference though between like leg up in the short term and long term. Like a lot of people think like this has a leg up in the short term, but in the long term, like there's gonna be other buffs that outperform it because they're just better sets. They just haven't given the time to grow yet. Because you see, like over here, like the Sun and Moon, like was really old, but team Cosmic Eclipse, like the last one's like really a lot more expensive. Actually, team up. I think I said Cosmic Eclipse or team up's also very popular in Sun and Moon. But like yeah, so like set quality. But there's other factors like print stuff and whatever. Um, but yeah, so we're talking about XY, and he's gonna be talking about Roaring Skies this one, which so I'll just go back. I'm also gonna start closing some of these tabs because it's way too much. Um, but yeah, like throughout this playlist, like I only did like boxes, but yeah, it starts with like he bought two pallets, and later there's like a Roaring Skies thing, and so over here this is actually a very common kind of mentality. So everyone gets a Pokemon at a different time, and the time that you get the Pokemon is kind of it kind of helps define your entry points. It helps you like not make certain mistakes. So you said over here that Roaring Skies was reprinted, or was getting a reprint, and it was a credibility issue because Pokemon had decided that like stated that that Roaring Skies is out of print. So the reason why that was important for investors was that if something's out of print, that's like it's safer to invest in since there's no more supply in the market because of supply and demand. Um, then the price should keep going up, and at that point, prices like according to the video, like the prices of each box were $200 $300 a booster box, and like or 250 300, and then a lot of people bought in at like 150 250 because like that's how it goes. Like if you bought Silver Tempest recent Pokemon Center at like 150, then like you're hoping it goes up to at least 200 or 300. It's like why didn't you buy 100? Well, you're not like some people like just get it later. That always kind of happens. um but as soon as this reprint happened, the price went down to 100, and so like this was a big like oh shoot for like if you got the high, then like you just kind of your investment went down a lot. So Rudy at this point is pretty excited because he doesn't have any Roaring Skies booster boxes. He was like, oh, I felt like the price is too high and I was priced out, and so he went and was like, oh, this is a good opportunity to buy. Um, okay, next video. So this is February 23. So this is about a month and a half later. Then another Primal Clash, which I have mentioned here. So Roaring Skies was released May 6, 2015, and then Primal Clash. Does it say Primal Clash or Ancient Origins? Primal Clash. This has like the Groudon and Kyogre. So this was releasing earlier, and it was also reprinted. So I'm gonna close some of these. Okay. So this is where a lot of people make decisions based on past histories, like just like I'm doing, I want to know the past history. And to Rudy, he saw us as like a lot of collectibles, like his Pokemon is collectible. Like people hear about BT babies or sports cards or I don't know, like it could be McDonald's toys, but a lot of these are collectibles, and you invest in them because you hope the value goes up. But like not everything goes up. Actually, some things have their kind of bubble, or they do have their highs, and like you can buy it too high, and like you'll just lose money. And so this is where his sentiment kind of changes to where um, he's seeing how the company management and things are affecting Pokemon, and it seems like they're going back and reprinting more, because like that is a strategy. It's like you have the print, you have like the IP, you have like it's not like it's hard like it's not like it's not possible to reprint cards unless there's some supply issue. Like you can always reprint, but like the thing is like if there's too much supply, then like your market kind of like gets destroyed sometimes because there's too much and things don't sell. So you obviously can't print to infinity, but at this point he is a little turned off by Pokemon. He bought some, but he was like, I'm not buying a lot. Um, and then so I skipped around all the videos, and I probably because I want to keep it shorter. This is where he's like a little more. He's like reviewing his initial video, and he's just a little burnt out by it all. Like this is October 19, 2018. So this is a big fast forward. The other one was February 23, 2017. So this is almost exactly a year and a half. And so there's a bunch of Pokemon videos in between that. Um, but he's like, I've been in this for 2 years. It pretty much went pretty bad. Like there's almost no profit. Um, like he did some things before to buy other collector boxes. He bought into evolutions and other sets. Which is evolutions over here, and like this was mass produced. Um, and over here, he said he's like I think he's like kind of taking a break. He's like he's trying to give investment advice like don't bet the farm, um, have some diversification safety despite how sure you are. Like he's like I'm so sure these are great investing opportunities. I would buy the boxes, even if I bought a lot of them and I sold 80% of them. Like this is an investing strategy. If you think something's about to go up, you go buy a lot, sell a good chunk of it, make back your money, and therefore you have zero risk on like it's pretty much you got like a free position in the investment. But he wasn't able to do it. Like he like in other videos, he talks about he tries to sell things even at a loss, and he just can't. And he gets to a point after around this point where he gets sick of everything, and he actually just leaves everything in a bathroom, and he pretty much stops posting about Pokemon for um, over a year. But he gets to the point where he can't sell anything, and that ends up being very lucky for him. Um, but yeah, his actual results, he said he probably made 8 to 10% total over 2 years, which isn't a very good return. Like stock market could have gave him more, because and also it's a time energy. Like he spent time getting product, negotiating, selling, and all that, and so it was just 8 to 10% over 2 years. Um, okay, and then I have some videos for the 2020 because I skipped to that. So I skipped 2019. I think I only had like one video, and it wasn't very much. And this is what people call the Rudy bathroom. And this is the video that shows you a lot of the boxes and stuff that he had bought. Like I told you that like he had a lot of collector boxes. And what he did is like he just broke down the collector boxes and just had them packed. So like this is actually a set called Generations, which is actually quite expensive right now. I don't even know. Yeah, it's not even listed here. Or maybe I just the control F's not working. But yeah, so this is the video of just the review of what's in there, and you realize like there's a lot of value. And there's like another video which people requested, but the second video he gives more like feedback. So this is on June 26th, um, or June 26th, 2020. So this is the famous 2020. This is when COVID happened, um, and so this is the the part where he was very discouraged was October of 2018. So this is a year and 8 months. So yeah, about a year and 8 months after he got discouraged, he just started to get back. He was like, "Yeah, I'm done with this." He had the space. So he just kept it, and like this is where he's like, "Wow, I just like it's a good thing I stayed the course." Like, or he's like, "Actually, I stayed the course as in I stuck with the Pokemon, but actually I did it because my plan was." His plan was just keep buying throughout the years as like things go down or like whatever, and then keep them. But he well, even though he kept this, he stopped buying. And he was like, "Wow, I really should have bought more." And that is what people like think about this hobby. Like they're like, "I should have bought more because the price is so much higher now." Um, and like he says some because he says so. He's like, "I'm experiencing a weird phenomenon. It's like the supply is like vanishing, and by that he means like you see listings, and it's like he can't like listings would start disappearing, and people would buy them, the supply would go away." And so he's like he's wondering what's happening at this time. And then he realizes Logan Paul like a little later. So this is October 17th of 2020. So this is about 4 months later, also in the COVID year, and he's realizing that a lot of what's happening is that with the COVID stuff and with Logan Paul, like if you don't know about Logan Paul, like what he did was that he popularized Pokemon a little more by buying like the base set boxes and opening them, and he just made Pokemon a little more popular. And like the Charizard and all they call vintage is like the really old sets, like the initial sets like base set, fossil, whatever. Um, And so influencers like him, Gary Vee, whatever, they would just start like opening packs on videos, and people will get into it. And there's like, they're at home, they're bored, and so there's just a huge boom where people would buy like the old things. And before this, I don't know the pricing, and that's why it's like I like to look at this for like a sense of data. But the prices of boxes were just a lot cheaper, even if like, because it's crazy. Like if you I don't know the prices, but let's say Pokemon released base set like for the year 2000, so this is 20 years ago, and you can get it for like a few $1,000s or a few $100s. Like that's it's a few hundred. Like I think I did hear that there are prices like that for that or similar sets around the same time, but it's like people were starting to buy them up. But at this point, there's a huge opportunity because people didn't really care about Pokemon, and the cards were considered useless or not worth much. But now, like people started buying them up because there's a lot of good like arbitrage situations here. Okay. Um. Okay. So this is like where there's sort of a shift. So this is the end of 2020. So this is November 24th, and so this is about exact a month and a week after he realizes the Logan Pulse is happening. And so here, so this is where like this is where I kind of test to see if YouTubers kind of have good insight or not, because like he gives you his predictions and you can actually see what happens later on. So he predicts that so this is Sword and Shield era around this time. So 2020, just to move up to 2020. So 2020 is when Sword and Shield has come out officially, so that's February 7th, 2020. And then the first few boxes, Space, Rebel Clash, people don't talk about this as much. But around this time, the boxes people talk about are like Vivid Voltage, Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, um, Evolving Skies, and Fusion Strike. These are the five sets I feel like people talk about the most. They talk about this era, as far as like these are the memorable times, in some way at least. These other ones, they're just considered like later sets. But there's definitely some sentiment of like these are like the hot topic for a while, for good and bad reasons. Um, so I need to clean this up just a little bit. Okay, so here he's predicting that the prices of every Vulture, the Darkness Ablaze, they're gonna crash because there's overprinting. Um, and what happened there? And actually, I'm hearing this now. So it's 2024, and I'm hearing this kind of thing starting to happen now. It's so in order to understand this, you kind of have to understand how Pokemon cards get um, like if you buy Pokemon cards, how does this Pokemon cards get sent to you? Like, did you buy directly from Pokemon? Well, if you go to PokeCenter.com, you bought directly from Pokemon in some way. I think at least there might be some sort of middleman, but it's more or less directly from Pokemon in some sense. But a lot of the times, like you don't buy from Pokemon directly, and what you do is that you buy from like there's a big box store which is called like your big like Walmart, Target, whatever. Um, and there you can usually get a lot of collector boxes, maybe loose packs, maybe ETBs or tins. You don't usually see booster boxes there. Um, or you go to like a local gaming store, which is like you just go to the store. It's like dedicated to just cards, and so you get booster boxes there and some more like niche products. Sometimes there's tournaments there, and there's also online stores, which is kind of the same thing. They're just online. Um, and so the big box stores have their own chain of called distribution, but for the local game stores, what they do is that they have to have a distributor who will let them buy stuff. And sort of like the way I understand it is like you apply, and a lot of times it's not a good deal for you at the beginning, like because it's very risky. Like you get a wholesale price. The wholesale price isn't necessarily like always that much better than the market price. Especially when you consider like shipping fees. Like okay, so for example, let's say you buy a booster box for $90, and the market price is 95. Then after you pay fees to the distributor, um, you list it and then you ship it to people, and they use a credit card fee or you sell it in store. Like you're not making a lot of money; you're actually losing money. And so what you need to do is you have to be able to survive with that. And also, a lot of these stores like they don't have a lot of capital. Capital is like how much cash you have available. And so what they'll do is that they'll spend a lot of their capital. And let's say they have like $10,000, $20,000. They'll spend it all with Pokemon stuff because Pokemon distributors reward you with better product later on if you buy more. So like you're kind of incentivized. And also, the technically the more stuff you have, the more you can sell for maybe a profit. And so it's just like it's kind of just like you make money through numbers kind of thing. It's not like there's like, oh, you buy a box for 100, go 200 all the time. Um, and at this time, there's a lot of people who are applying for distributions. There's a lot of applicants, and so it's just sort of like the signs that kind of keep happening. Like that's actually happening right now, where you get applied to distribution, and a lot of them will take applicants. But a lot of those people, what they'll do is that they'll see the opportunity, and it's not that you can't. So it's like okay, it's like what's the happy case, or what's the case where like everything works out, or if everything works out, um, it's that you, let's say you can make a profit on your stuff. So you spend $5,000. That's all the money you have for $10,000. All the money you have. You buy the product, sell the product, and you're able to use that money that you got back to buy the next batch of cards. Distributors do not want to work with you if you can't continuously buy product from them to some extent. Um, and so, but the thing is, if you don't sell your stuff, then you can't you can't buy a distributor anymore, and then they don't want to work with you. Some people get just via like using like credit cards, or like they don't have money and so just backs on my credit cards. It's like I'll pay it off later, and that's like leverage. And other times, what they'll do is sometimes they'll like get pre-orders so they can get like a free loan ahead of time. It's its own thing. So that works for some people for some of the time, but it sets people up for kind of like at least a certain number of people up for disaster because when something goes wrong, then they're over leveraged and what are they going to do? They're going to have to like sell their product maybe at a loss and maybe like not even have enough to like pay stuff later, and then they might lose access to distributor and then they're out of business. And this is why like when you see a lot of new applicants for distributors, like and I'm like I think I heard from someone recently like it's like the difference between like maybe if someone normally gets one application like a day or a week, it's like then you suddenly get three or five a day or a week, a day, 3 or 5 a day, and it's like that it just like it's like there's no way all those people got into this and they're like all well capitalized and stuff. Because honestly, if you're well capitalized, a lot of people would just invest directly in Pokemon. Like they or they wouldn't like deal with the distributor and they would just buy and then sell, and then if they're gonna hold long term, like they can. So anyway, he just talks about warning here, and it does come true. Like it does crash eventually. But at this time, like if you're the normal buyer, you're going to no buy into like oh my gosh, it could go up because like at this point it's like oh, okay, Vivid Vulture is selling for like 150, and you're like, well, it keeps going up $10 every day, every week. It's like, well, you can sell 200, make your money back. It's just like it's possible to make money, but there's also like kind of like if the volatility has its own risk. So this is I think is a pretty important video. I'm just gonna close some more stuff. I hope I've not been talking too long. Um, okay, so now we shift into 2021 where he has another warning, and this is another way that people, um, this is another way. Oh, so the last video gives you insight on how people make decisions because they have some sort of inside information, and like honestly, the inside information kind of you can get it by talking to people or seeing YouTube channels that have it. But pretty much people have access to distribution can like ask and get like a sense of like certain things. In the last video, like Rudy had, he just got a idea of like that the number of applicants for distributors are increasing because he just asked someone. And then here he got information that like more printers are being scheduled to come online on Pokemon. Whatever that means, like they bought a new printing location or they rented more stuff. But Pokemon, like because there was so much demand at this time, the prices were really high. Um, that they were getting more printers to try to satisfy the supply. And then this is where he says, "Hey, this is really bad. This is going. Everything's coming all together. Like, so like demand. This like right now the demand is really high, and therefore even if you have more supply, like it will affect the price, but like to some extent. At some point, when people start realizing they can't make as much money, or they start losing money, or the prices go down, people will panic sell. When they panic sell, the prices will go straight down, and then the demand will start crashing, and then there's too much available products. So he predicts at that point that it'll happen within the next 15 months. In reality, it kind of happens in the next 5 to 12 months. And this is where the short term people who came in without like a plan to like a contingency plan of what they would do to stay in the market, um, they get wiped out basically because like, this is where it gets a little more experience. It's like, hey, like I've already been through this before. Like there was a price crash like through the Roaring Sky stuff, and like a lot of people sell because even I tried selling at that point. Like he tried sell stuff, but the people who keep their product for at least 3 or 4 years will actually be the ones that will watch it appreciate significantly because his bathroom, it just like I don't know, it was like 2 to 4 times the worth by just waiting an extra 2 years. Um, that's kind of what happens. But like now he's a little calmer than he was before. But like he says it, he's like, I got lucky. Like I didn't like I was fearful too. I almost sold. I just got lucky that I didn't. Um, so this video, April 10th. Um, this isn't really that important. I'm just gonna skip it. Looking at my notes. But I think that one was just saying that the price of wholesale was increasing. So pretty much the price of wholesale has been increasing. I think back then I was like 70. I think it was increasing to 80. I think now it's around 90 for a booster box. So it just kind of um, it's important because it's sort of like it sort of affects risk per store. Um, so this is June 2nd, 2021. So this is about 5 months after you made the prediction, and this is where Battle Styles set that was um, pretty pricey. Like this was one of the sets that like went up high. Like look at Surging Sparks right now. Oh, the Surging Sparks isn't necessarily the same, but like you see how Surging Sparks has just risen so much, like go to 200, like it's above MSRP. This is why people fear the reprint stuff because they're like there always has the potential to go back down. But yeah, it tanks 60%. And let's see. So we should enter a bear market. For those of you who don't know, like people look at markets as bull and bear markets. Bull markets where prices keep rising because there's high demand, people are optimistic. Bear markets is when like prices go down because there's not a lot of interest, there's not a lot of money in the area. People don't have a lot of like uh, they think it's gonna be slower and they don't have a lot of confidence in the market. So over here, he said instead of selling at the hot like 150s, 200s, I think um, boxers selling close to 100 or less, while wholesale's 90 something. So like I said before, the local gaming stores can't make a lot of money on that. Like if you pay $90+ a booster box, maybe plus fees, plus shipping, whatever, and you sell it for 100 or less, like you're losing, you're probably losing money. Um, and this is when you switch from like the short-term investors to long investors. Like this is what long-term investors look for. This is our hey, to keep your eye out because this is a good buy opportunity because this is when the prices are actually low. You have to. This is why people talk about hey, you have to do the opposite. What most people do. Like when people are fearful, then you get greedy. So everyone sells and you take it all up. And then when people are greedy, the price is too high, then you start getting fearful. Like, hey, this is too good to be true. Okay. But yeah, this was 6. But but yeah, I have some more notes. Actually, I was reading another one. But yeah, Battle Style tanks from 170 to $90. Um, Chilling. Part of the reason of that is because Chilling Rain, a set that was released close to that. So Battle Style was released on March 19th, and then 3 months later, Chilling Rain was released. So timeline of that was too many. Okay, I'm gonna close. Okay, so yeah, battle styles tanks from 170 to 90, and part of the reason is because um, The Pokemon Company, they dropped reprints of Chilling Reign of Battle Styles around the same time that the Chilling Reign orders were up. Because basically, when the set's about to come up, you have to like order it ahead of time. And so, but if you order ahead of time and you have like pretty much, let's say only Chilling Reign was released and you're gonna allocate $2,000 to that. Now you have opportunity to buy battle styles, and but you don't have a lot of money like allocated for that or available for that, and so like you have to like, oh, I suddenly need to get another $1,000. Um, and also like they made the boost boxes more expensive. Um, and also at this point, since boxes kept rising, like you see as they're searching sparks, like stores they'll sell out, and then um, they'll have more inventory at a higher price. It's like stores would learn that hey, don't sell immediately. Because of that, like whatever inventory of battle cells they had initially or at the time became worth a lot less. And like it's just like a lot of factors went down where like stores are getting crushed by the orders that they had, and they're buying products that wasn't like worth a lot. And it's people, and he says like people who are well capitalized moving quietly by this time. Um, he says that like when Pokemon boxes reach the floor, it's a massive 3 to 5 year opportunity. So like here the floor policy in like 90 actually went lower than that actually. Um, but it's also understandable if you don't invest because for humans it's psychologically or emotionally difficult to invest when prices are falling. Um, and that's what separates the people who do it and are successful and those who don't. Not, but it's not guaranteed. Like sometimes you do it and you actually are wrong. But yeah, this is like the battle sales crash, and then this one, November 9th, 2021, so the end of 2021. So yeah, 2020 was a big bull market, and 2021 was that was where the bear market or the crashing started happening. So this is where um, a lot of the boxes, Battle Styles Chilling Reign, this Evolving Skies was released. There to go from 90 to 140. I think that's because of Evolving Skies. Even back then, Evolving Skies is still quite popular. It dropped from like these prices dropped from the normal 160 to 180. And he talks more about collector and flippers versus investors. Like if you're a flipper is like trying to make the quick profits. You're probably going to be selling at a loss now. Versus if you're an investor can hold, you're going to be fine in like a couple of years. Because if you bought these prices, like I'm telling you, like 160 to 180, like all these boxes, well not battle style, but Chilling Reign and Evolving Skies, like they're both much higher now. Especially Evolving Skies. Um, and the lesson here that he has is sort of like decreased downside loss. And so like if you buy things at the very bottom, and it seems like he started to realize a pattern where like Pokemon Company would not print things below a certain price. Like Rory's guys like, hey, never drop below like $70. And therefore like it just seems like there's some robust demand for Pokemon cards. So if I do buy at the bottom, like it will go up. Okay. Um let's see. So November 24th, 2021, this is about 2 weeks after the last video. He's like, yeah, this feels like 2018 when everything drops. Like when, like I mentioned, Star's video. That's when the Roy's guys and Ancient Origins or Primal Clash they all got reprinted. Um, and yeah, he's seeing the pattern of like people who are in this for a quick buff. They're gonna be sucked out of the market, and then the people who are experienced and wealthy will make their move and sit and actually hold the product. But the bear market is here. Okay, now I move to 2022, and hopefully it moves a little faster. But bear market ends. So February 13, 2022. So this is 2.5 months, and he thinks that the bottom has ended of the bear market. Not that the bear market ends, but the bottom has ended. So The chilling he bought actually a massive amount of chilling rain and battle cells. I think like chilling rain he bought 3,000 booster boxes and 1,000 battle cells. Like this is like the scale of like people normal people can't do. And he said that they went to the 80s and now they're back to the 90s. So he thinks that's not like it doesn't seem like a huge uptrend, but it's like hey, I think I did get the bottom. Like I think like I got. And you don't always have to get the bottom, but just like I think I took my opportunity. And longest guys apparently briefly went to 100. It's back in 140, so longest guys was kind of always strong. Um, okay. It's this one. This is February 28th. Um, let's just talk about Brilliant Skies being at 140 to 150. Um, this was May 30. So May 30 is about 3 months or 2.5 after the bear bottom market. He talked chilling rain goes from it said it was 90 before, now it's at 100. He said it's not surprising it goes up, but it seems like it's a little fast. He's like expecting a rebound, but like a lot of times when Rudy doesn't expect things, it's like it just happens faster or slower than he thought it'd be. It feels like it's like it seems like the rebound is a little faster than he thought it'd be. Um, Here, September 2nd. Um, this one isn't that important, but this is just he thinks that the print run is kind of nice because like Lost Origin was released and it was about 100 and 110, so it seemed like a healthier price to him. So this one is November 5th, and this is where he's noticing Sword and Shield rising in price and specifically alt arts. So alt arts are um, the really nice looking cards. Like the most popular one is the Umbreon. From the Longest Guys, like that's probably the one everyone like hears about nowadays. Um, so yeah, so Umbreon VMAX. Not that one. Longest Guys. Oh, actually, maybe I'm searching. Yeah, it's this one. So a lot of Sword and Shields. This is where Sword and Shields sentiment has increased, and yeah, Sword and Shield is this block of 12 sets, released from 2020 to uh, 2022, and each set usually has 2 years. So your Silver Tempest is like it's just ending its run. So but he's like, I'm noticing that the alt arts, because each of them has kind of a popular alt art, or a lot of them do. So Lost Origin has a Giratina. Brilliant Star is a little less popular as a Charizard. Fusion Strike, very popular, has a Gengar. Um, Chilling Rain has a Blaziken that's a little iffy. Um, but yeah, there's just, and what he knows is like um, that they're being targeted. And by target, he means that like he's noticing a 10 to 30% appreciation in the last like 1.5 to 2 months. But the booster boxer still probably is not moving as much. So he's like, if it's singles, it's probably more organic demand, but either way, he predicts that the boxes will rise in price, which they do. So here is December December 7th, 2022. So this is a month later. And he just talks about, hey, I put a ton of money in this Sword and Shield. I have like 3 million. These are all my booster box cases. Evolving Skies is at 300. So it was at like one. When did I say 140? 140 at February of 2022. And so this is 10 months later. Evolving Skies went from 140 to 300, so it doubled. And then he talks about like why is he so bullish on it, and he's like, Pokemon boxes never go below 70, really, like, and that's why like there's like a clear bottom area of like probably 70 or 90 or 70 to 100 for a lot of boxes, and if you can buy them there, like there's just not a lot of downside risk. Because he doesn't want people to see people buys like 200 and like the box goes um back down. but that does kind of happen also. Like there's a little nuance in that. Um, he doesn't have equal investment assets, but this just sort of his proof. Um, and he thinks that they're managing print runs better than before. Like what happened with ancient. Um, yeah. So because some companies they do print to the ground and things become actually worthless. Pokemon seems to be just this weird anomaly. It's just so popular. Okay, December 12th, 2022. Um, there's still a bear market, even though even though Evolving Skies is doing well. Um, like everyone knows, like Evolving Skies is like a huge outlier. Like if you look at the prices, like it's 900 over here. Everything else is not even close. It's like 300 here. Evolving Skies is a huge outlier for returns. Um, but he's saying that everything seems underpriced. And a lot of money is going towards say things like secret deposits, and so there's a lot of opportunity right now in 2022. And December 12th, I installed this. So this is December 26th. Actually, no, need to close. Okay, I read to 2023. Um, so this one is January 8th, and this is when he kind of explains the process a little better. Um, and he says that so prices goes so this is kind of the pattern of boxes. Prices go to the bottom, and distributors, the people who sell the boxes to other stores, they're stuck with the product because no one's going to buy from them. And so finally able to break even, and um, then the box get bought up, and people like it goes like what like 110, 120. It gradually gets to 150, and then there's price shots 150, 180, 200, 300. At every step of the way, people sell because they're like, oh, I make profit. Especially if you go from like 100 to 200, a lot of people that's like I double my money. But the thing is, if you're patient, then eventually get to 300, 400 because there's even less people. And so that's what they call like the market flush. Like people are getting flushed out of the market because they leave their positions. And at the end, only the 1% are kind of left. The people who bought, um, yeah, only 100%, 1% are left. And the prices and the boxes are getting hard to get. If you look at listings with older stuff, like even finding listings of them are hard to find. And so he claims source your boxes should be at least 200 bucks over time, and barrel ups that's at least 500. That's the kind of outlook on Pokemon. Okay, so March 26th. So this is I actually have this note from the comments, but this is a repeating pattern. Like he gets things that are like people say that Pokemon's a bubble, and every time the booster boxes rise, people claim it's a bubble, it's a conspiracy or irrational behavior, and it happens every time. And that's sort of the pattern. And this is from like this is from someone who like has gone through every time because his videos do get repetitive. Like it just keeps sounding like the same thing each time over the years. Excuse me. Um, and June 22nd, 2023. This is about a year and a half ago from now. Pokemon's in a slower period. 2023 is still a slower period to some extent. Um, and since there's not a lot of opportunity for local game stores and flippers, there's just still less demand here. July 23rd, 2023, which is like a month or two later, Lost Origin Silver Tempest get reprinted. Lost, um, so Lost Or like they both goes around 100, I think, 100, 120 when they're closer to like 150, 200. And this is sort of your last chance to get Silver Tempest Origin booster boxes at a low price. And he's kind of right. Like they are like Lost Origin right now is pretty expensive. It's 245. It rebounded. I think it rebounded pretty quickly. Um, this one, he talks about he's putting a lot of money in Scarlet and Violet, but there's a lot of negativity, so it's like the perfect buying time. People are starting to see, I think, around like at some point that Sword and Shield is like they like it. It's perceived as some of the greatest cards. Scarlet and Violet, like there's stuff about how the pull rates are too easy or whatever. The cards don't have value that people don't like it. So Scarlet and Violet was like the initial set to like base Paldea. I know for a fact Paldea was selling like very low 70 to 90, and now it's like what 140. So just goes to show like a year or 4 months ago, like this bull market has really increased. And I have a playlist for the 2024, but that's kind of this year. And this is when all the crazy stuff happened. This is when sentiment changed. There was stuff like Twilight Masquerade 151. They would get more people into the hobby, and now the prices are like this. So this has been a pretty long video on Starly's My Voice. Just kind of want to cut it off. I don't even know how long this was, but yeah, hopefully it helps someone. Like even for me rewatching this myself in the future would be very helpful. Just get the timeline because it took a while to watch all these Rick Rudy videos, and it's just nice to have the timeline there so you can review it. All right, thanks. Bye.